Welcome to another episode of Mindful Moments with our licensed psychotherapist, Leslie Cutler.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Leslie, for once again imparting your wisdom upon us.
Well, it's wonderful to be here today. Thank you so much.
It's good to have you. Today we're going to talk about uncomplicating relationships. What does that mean?
You know, it's interesting because when I was new in the relationship world, I remember saying to a good friend of mine, you know, how do you go about finding the right partner? And she gave me some advice that has been crucial for me. And she said, you know, you need to concentrate on being the right partner first. You need to look deep inside and ask yourself some honest questions, such as, do I really like who I am? Do I like the decisions that I'm making? Am I happy with where I am in my life? And when you get to that place, the right partner will come to you. See, I had always thought that, hey, if you get into the right relationship, you can kind of always work on those things later.
Right.
But it doesn't exactly work that way. You know, we need to be our best versions of ourselves in order to attract the right person, and in order to attract that person that's going to be perfect for us.
Does that mean that you can't gain anything from another person? I mean, you still can get some things, but you're saying that you need to start with a really centered self.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, Julie. You nailed it. And, you know, I do think we learn most about ourselves within the context of relationships.
Right.
But going in with a solid base is absolutely crucial and critical.
Yep.
So today we're going to talk about the 5 ways to uncomplicate our relationships.
Okay. So I will read number 1, which is, stop looking to others for the love and respect only you can give yourself.
Yes. There's a reason why the words such as self-respect, self-worth, self-love all start with the word self, because they can only come from us and they cannot come from anywhere else. You know, it's just interesting. We need to know that we love ourselves, that we respect ourselves, that we're where we need to be. And once you can look at this and be able to answer these questions honestly, you are absolutely on the right path. So not look for them outside of ourselves, but within ourselves first.
So, and what you said right from the beginning is it all starts with the image of ourselves and the centering of ourselves and almost the definition of ourselves.
And the real honest look. To be able to go deep and to sit with that and say, you know, there might be a few things that I need to tweak a little bit or work on or bring, you know, make as goals for myself to bring myself to the next level.
Is it us that determines what we need to work on, or is it others that point that out in us?
You know, sometimes it's feedback from others saying to us, you know, we keep arriving at this place again and again in this dynamic. Let's each look at it and see which piece of this is ours to hold.
Gotcha. Okay, number 2.
Number 2, start using your voice to lift yourselves and to lift others up. So we live in this very, very self-serving world that at times seems to be filled with a tremendous amount of negativity. So it's very, very important to differentiate ourselves by encouraging those that we really love. You know, we need to be the voice that are going to encourage those in our world to want to achieve their dreams, to make them feel like they're loved and they're appreciated and they're honored in all things. And this is crucial to do because, you know, again, you get surrounded by this negativity and it's easy to fall into that dark place as well. But really just encouraging each other, letting them know that, you know, we love them and, you know, not just love them, but having the actions to back that up as well in all things, you know, to be able to be kind of their greatest cheerleader.
Right. At the same time, we are being our own greatest cheerleader.
And crucial. Yes, absolutely.
Because that's something that we tend to slip back out of all the time.
Yeah, somehow it's easy to forget ourselves in that equation.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so number 3 is start communicating clearly. And this we all can work on.
Yeah, and you know, Julie, I feel like we talk about this every time that we're together because it is so crucial. And there really are so few relationships out there that run smoothly and aren't toxic. And you know, I think we've all been guilty of this at times. So I think what happens is, you know, we push down what it is that we're feeling and we push it down and we push it down because we're so fearful of what the other person's reaction and response might be. And then all of a sudden we explode and the person's like, whoa, what just happened here? So this is absolutely crucial in all things.
Now let me ask you something. When you say communicating clearly, to different people, you have to sometimes clarify and confirm what you've said many times before they really understand what you've said. And other people get it the first time. How do you differentiate when you need to make sure that you have been heard, exactly what you said was heard the way you wanted it to be heard?
Well, that's such a great question, because I think so often when we speak, the person that we're speaking to are kind of lost in their own head.
Right.
And
they're not
busy
thinking about what we're saying.
Yeah, well, they're
Right.
either thinking about what they have to do, or they're too busy forming their argument or their reaction and their response.
Right.
So when we're speaking, if we're not paying attention to their body language, and we're not paying attention to them and sort of looking at them eye to eye, we might want to say, hey, are you understanding what I'm saying? You know, can we talk about it a little bit further?
Right.
Other people, like you said, you can tell are honestly
get
and
it.
deeply,
Right.
they have that wisdom and that knowledge. They're going to ask very thoughtful questions. They're going to follow up in such a way that you know that they're completely hearing you. And that is the ultimate goal.
Right.
Is to reach that place where, you know, we're not just, you know, hearing, but we're truly, truly listening and acting upon those things.
It's almost the way we have to communicate with our children when they're young, making sure that they really, and you almost make, so what did mommy just say to you?
Yes.
Did you really understand it? And obviously we don't talk to adults that way,
Right.
but you almost have to use the same tactic.
Yes, absolutely. That's very true. And I do that often in my house, let me tell you.
I did too.
So number 4 is to stop judging. And
This is a tough one.
This is a real tough one. And, you know, sometimes we don't even realize we're doing this. But the more we judge, the less we love. Yeah. And, you know, I do think that a person's smile can hide a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. We don't know what kind of trauma a person has been through. No matter how much we try to emphasize with them, we do not understand the path that they've walked.
Right.
So, you know, in all things, that people have their reasons for responding in whatever way. But really, cut people some slack. You know, it's just so toxic to start judging or making assumptions about people, because in time, those assumptions become our truth, whether or not they are based on truth.
And how in this really rather toxic atmosphere that we have in our news media these days, not blaming anyone, just saying that that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
How do we not get caught up in that realm of judging when you try so hard to listen to both sides and to understand both sides, but I think being a human being, you tend to gravitate to a side or a position that you thoroughly believe in. And how do you take that and yet still not judge those who feel exactly the opposite?
Well, that's always quite a challenge. You know, it's one thing to disagree.
Right.
It's another to judge.
Right. Oh, that's true.
And, you know, you can have, you know, obviously we're all going to disagree with different political individuals based upon where we come from and what our history is. But, you know, it's kind of what we do with that information that's crucial.
Okay, so keep calm and don't judge. Okay.
Right.
And number 5, we have start living with 100% integrity. And that's a word that we don't hear much anymore.
You know, it's not a word that's frequently talked about.
No, it isn't.
But it's so, so crucial. And, you know, don't cheat. Be faithful. Be kind. It's really hard to untangle all that once the grounds of trust have been removed from a relationship. You know, the definition of integrity is basically, you know, what you choose to do in those moments when nobody's watching you.
Right.
You know, who are we? What is it that we stand for? These are the things that we need to hold to and honor in all things, no matter the circumstance, no matter how ugly it is.
Right.
You know, sometimes we're like, oh, I'm just going to kind of go along with the crowd because my feeling is so different and I don't want to create a... No. Really, that just makes our lives so much more complicated when we start, you know, kind of covering our tracks and, you know, pulling back, because that truth always comes to the surface in time.
Right. My mother always used to say, live your life as clear as glass.
Ooh,
Yeah,
very
because
good
she,
advice.
you know, she's right, because whatever you do, no matter what you do or how you say things, or there's always a price for everything that is done or said,
And
one
that's
way or
so
another.
true. That's so true. And, you know, it's a crucial piece of who we can become.
Right.
To live honestly, to live authentically.
Right.
And, you know, really, again, attract what it is that we want in our lives.
Right. By living it.
By living it.
Well, this has been wonderful. We've had relationship you've talked about relationships before, but the specific steps that you give us, if we do them and if we practice them, and again, we talk about this every time there's something that you bring on board, we have to practice it.
Yes.
It's not something that just comes naturally all the time.
Yes.
So thank you, and we thank Leslie for joining us, and
Thank
we will
you.
have her again back real soon for another episode of Mindful Moments.
Thank you.